Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back to Dream Room, the place where small homes, quiet corners, natural materials, and simple decorating ideas come together to make everyday life feel softer, calmer, and more beautiful. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a little patch of garden outside your bedroom window, beside your patio chair, along your walkway, or near your home office view and thought, this could be beautiful, but I just don't have the energy to keep fixing it? Maybe you have carried heavy bags of mulch more times than you want to remember. Maybe you spread it carefully in spring, only to see it fade, wash away after rain, spill onto the path, or look tired again by summer. And if you love decorating your home, you know the feeling. When one unfinished corner outside the house makes the whole space feel less peaceful. But here is the lovely secret many homeowners never discover. Your garden does not always need more bark, more stone, or more expensive materials. Sometimes the most beautiful solution is alive. Living ground covers can do the quiet work that mulch does. They cover bare soil, help hold moisture, soften hard edges, reduce weeds, and make a small garden look thoughtfully designed. But unlike ordinary mulch, they also bring color, fragrance, tiny flowers, texture, and that gentle, settled-in feeling that makes a home feel loved. So whether you are decorating a tiny front yard, a shaded side path, a patio container, a small courtyard, or just the view outside your favorite chair, today's ideas will help you choose ground covers that are practical, natural, and beautiful. And before we begin with the first one, make sure to subscribe to Dream Room, because this channel is all about helping you create a home and garden that feel warm, peaceful, and truly yours. 1. Creeping Thyme, the fragrant living carpet for sunny paths. The first ground cover I would choose for a small sunny space is Creeping Thyme, because it does something ordinary mulch can never do. It does not just cover the soil, it gives the ground a scent, a softness, and a quiet little personality. Imagine a narrow path leading from your back door to a small garden chair. Maybe the stones are simple, maybe the space is not large. But between those stones, instead of bare dirt or faded bark, there is a low green carpet filled with tiny leaves and little purple flowers. And when you step nearby, the air carries a gentle herbal fragrance. That is the charm of Creeping Thyme. For anyone who loves a cozy patio, a small courtyard, a front walkway, or a sunny border outside the bedroom window, this plant can make the space feel much more intentional. It hugs the soil closely, helping block weeds before they get comfortable. It shades the ground, keeps moisture from disappearing too quickly, and protects the surface from looking dry and unfinished. And this is especially helpful if you are at a stage in life where you want beauty, but not endless bending, hauling, and replacing. Creeping Thyme does not demand constant attention once it settles in. It prefers full sun, well-drained soil, and a little patience in the beginning. After that, it slowly fills in, becoming more beautiful with time. Use it between stepping stones, along the edge of raised beds, around sunny containers, or beside a little seating area where you drink tea in the morning. It gives that cottage garden feeling without making the space look messy. Creeping Thyme is a reminder that even the smallest path can feel designed, loved, and alive when the ground itself begins to bloom. 2. Sedum Angelina, the golden ground cover for hot, dry corners. Now let's move to one of those difficult little spots many homes have. The hot, dry corner where almost nothing seems happy. Maybe it is beside the driveway, along a stone border, near a sunny patio, or at the edge of a small front yard where the afternoon sun feels too strong. You may have tried mulch there before, but after a while it fades, looks flat, or gets pushed around by wind and rain. The space still feels unfinished. This is where Sedum Angelina becomes such a smart choice. Instead of covering the soil with brown bark, Sedum Angelina creates a glowing layer of golden green texture. It has a bright, cheerful look that can make even a plain dry corner feel designed. In spring and summer, it brings that fresh chartreuse color. Later, in cooler weather, it can shift into warmer amber tones, giving the garden a soft seasonal change without extra decorating. For viewers who love clean, simple, modern spaces, this plant works beautifully around stones, low walls, gravel edges, and small patio beds. It gives structure without looking stiff. It adds color without needing a complicated flower display. And the best part is that Sedum Angelina is tough. It prefers full sun, handles poor to average soil, and does not need much water once established. That makes it perfect for people who want a beautiful garden but do not want another demanding project. Use it where mulch always seems to disappoint. Hot borders, dry slopes, rock gardens, driveway edges, or the sunny corner outside your home office window. Sedum Angelina proves that a low-maintenance garden does not have to look dull. Sometimes the toughest plant in the garden is also the one that brings the most light. 3. Blue Star Creeper, the soft filler that makes walkways look finished. Next, let's talk about Blue Star Creeper, a ground cover that is perfect for those little gaps that always seem hard to decorate. You may have a row of stepping stones beside the patio, a narrow path near the garden bed, or a few awkward bare spaces between pavers. They are not large enough for shrubs. They are not pretty enough to leave empty, and when you cover them with mulch, the mulch often shifts, scatters, or makes the path look unfinished again. Blue Star Creeper solves that problem in a softer way. It grows low to the ground, forming a smooth green mat that gently fills the empty spaces. Then, in spring and summer, it adds tiny star-like flowers in a pale blue color, giving the walkway a delicate, charming detail that feels much more special than plain bark or gravel. This is a wonderful choice for small gardens because it makes every inch feel cared for. It can soften the space between stones, frame the front of a border, or create a gentle green edge around a seating area. Instead of looking like an afterthought, the path begins to feel intentional, almost like it belongs in a peaceful cottage garden. Once established, Blue Star Creeper can handle light foot traffic, which makes it useful for paths you actually use, not just areas meant to be admired from a distance. It prefers moist, well-drained soil and can grow in full sun to partial shade, making it flexible for many home garden spaces. For anyone decorating a small yard, a quiet courtyard, or a walkway outside the kitchen or bedroom, Blue Star Creeper brings that finished look without making the space feel crowded. It is a gentle reminder that sometimes the smallest details are what make a garden feel complete. 4. Creeping Jenny, the bright living ribbon for containers and edges. Now let's move to Creeping Jenny, a ground cover that brings brightness, movement, and a cheerful designer touch to small spaces. If you have ever looked at a patio planter, a raised bed, or the edge of a garden path and felt that something was missing, Creeping Jenny may be exactly the kind of plant that finishes the picture. Its chartreuse leaves have a glowing yellow-green color that instantly lights up darker corners, plain pots, and simple garden edges. Unlike mulch, which usually sits flat and quiet, Creeping Jenny moves. It trails, it spills, it softens the hard lines of containers, garden walls, and raised borders. In a small outdoor space, that kind of movement can make everything feel more relaxed and graceful. This is especially useful if you enjoy decorating with plants the same way you decorate a room. A simple pot can look more styled when Creeping Jenny drapes over the side. A raised bed can feel softer when its edges are touched with living green. Even a small patio corner can feel more welcoming when the plants look like they are gently flowing into the space. As a mulch replacement, Creeping Jenny helps cover the soil, hold moisture, and reduce bare patches. But it does grow quickly, especially in moist soil, so it is best used where you can guide it. Containers, contained borders, patio edges, and raised beds are wonderful places to start. For viewers who want fast color without complicated care, Creeping Jenny is a beautiful choice. It reminds us that a small garden does not need to feel stiff or formal. Sometimes all it needs is one bright living ribbon to make the whole space feel fresh, soft, and thoughtfully arranged. 5. Lamium Beacon Silver, the shade brightener for forgotten corners next. Let's step away from the sunny path and look at a place many homes quietly struggle with, the shaded corner. Maybe it is under a row of shrubs, beside a fence, along the side of the house, or near an older walkway where the sun barely reaches. These spaces often feel dull and unfinished. Mulch may cover the soil for a while, but in shade it can look dark, flat, damp, or forgotten. That is where Lamium Beacon Silver becomes so useful. This ground cover is loved for its silver leaves with soft green edges. Instead of disappearing into the shade, it reflects light and makes darker areas feel brighter. It gives the garden a gentle glow, almost as if that quiet corner has finally been noticed and cared for. As a living mulch, Lamium spreads low across the soil, helping cover bare ground, reduce weeds, and keep moisture from disappearing too quickly. It works beautifully under shrubs, along shaded paths, and in woodland-style borders where traditional mulch often feels lifeless. For viewers who have a narrow side yard, a shaded entryway, or a small garden bed that never seems to look finished, Lamium can be a simple and graceful solution. It does not demand a dramatic redesign. It simply softens the space and brings light where the garden used to feel heavy. Once established, it needs very little attention, only occasional trimming if you want to keep it within bounds. Lamium Beacon Silver reminds us that even the darkest corner of a small garden can become beautiful when you choose a plant that knows how to shine quietly. 6. Ajuga Reptans, the bold ground cover for color and weed control. Now let's look at Ajuga Reptans, a ground cover for anyone who wants more than simple green coverage. Ajuga is the bold choice. It does not quietly disappear into the background. Its glossy leaves can bring deep green, bronze, burgundy, or variegated tones into the garden depending on the variety you choose. And in spring, it sends up short blue-purple flower spikes that make the ground itself feel decorated. This makes Ajuga especially useful in places where mulch would only look flat, under shrubs, along borders, around hostas, beside stepping stones, or in cottage-style beds. Ajuga adds depth and color while still doing the practical work of a living mulch. It grows low and thick, helping cover bare soil and reduce weeds before they have room to settle in. Once it fills an area, the garden bed looks more finished, more layered, and more intentional. Instead of refreshing bark again and again, you allow the plant to create its own living carpet. But because Ajuga is a strong spreader, it is best used where you actually want coverage. It belongs in areas that need filling, not tiny corners where every inch must stay perfectly controlled. For viewers who enjoy rich color, textured planting, and a garden that feels full without looking expensive, Ajuga can be a wonderful solution. It pairs beautifully with shade-loving plants and gives older garden beds a fresh, polished feeling. Ajuga reptans reminds us that replacing mulch does not have to mean choosing something plain. Sometimes the best ground cover is the one that brings color, flowers, and confidence to the soil. 7. Sweet woodruff. The calm woodland carpet for shady beds. Next, we come to sweet woodruff, a ground cover that brings a soft woodland feeling to shaded garden spaces. This is the kind of plant that feels quiet, gentle, and peaceful. It does not shout for attention. Instead, it slowly creates a delicate green carpet beneath trees around shrubs and along shaded borders where ordinary mulch often looks dark, patchy, or tired. Sweet woodruff has fine green leaves arranged in graceful little patterns, and in spring, it produces small white flowers that brighten the ground in a very natural way. The effect is simple but beautiful. It makes a shaded bed feel less like an empty space and more like a calm garden corner that belongs there. For viewers who love a peaceful bedroom window view, a reading chair near the garden, a shaded porch bench, or a quiet home office that looks out onto greenery, sweet woodruff can create the kind of scenery that helps the whole home feel more restful. As a living mulch, it spreads smoothly over the soil, helping reduce weeds, hold moisture, and soften the base of trees and shrubs. Instead of seeing bare dirt or a heavy layer of bark, you see a low green layer that feels fresh and settled. Sweet woodruff prefers shade to partial shade and moist, well-drained soil. Once established, it asks for very little, though it may need occasional thinning if it spreads farther than you want. This plant is a lovely reminder that not every garden solution has to be bold. Sometimes the most beautiful ground cover is the one that makes a space feel calmer, softer, and quietly complete. 8. Dwarf Mondo Grass. The elegant choice for clean, modern small spaces. Finally, let's finish with Dwarf Mondo Grass, a ground cover for anyone who loves a calm, tidy, and more refined garden look. This is not the kind of plant that feels wild or busy. Dwarf Mondo grass has a quiet elegance. It grows in low, dark green tufts that create soft texture without making the space feel crowded. For small homes, narrow borders, entryways, courtyards, and modern patios, that kind of restraint can be very beautiful. Think of it like a natural outdoor rug. In the same way a rug can define a living room or make a bedroom feel complete, Dwarf Mondo grass can define a small garden space and make it feel composed. It gives structure to the ground without the hard feeling of gravel or the temporary look of bark mulch. This plant works especially well around stepping stones, along shaded paths, beside porch edges, or in small Japanese-inspired garden corners. It brings a clean architectural texture that pairs beautifully with stone, ceramic pots, wooden benches, and simple natural materials. As a mulch replacement, a Dwarf Mondo grass helps cover the soil while giving the bed a finished designer appearance. It is a wonderful option for viewers who want their outdoor space to feel peaceful, organized, and easy to maintain. It may not be the fastest ground cover, but that is part of its charm. It grows slowly, stays neat, and does not overwhelm the design. Dwarf Mondo grass reminds us that beauty does not always need to be colorful or dramatic. Sometimes the most elegant garden choice is the one that quietly brings order, texture, and calm to a small space. Conclusion: a softer garden starts with one bare patch living mulch, small garden beauty, natural ground covers, low-maintenance home decor. So as we bring all 8 ground covers together, I want you to remember one simple thing. You do not have to redesign your entire yard to make your home feel more beautiful. Sometimes the transformation begins with one bare patch. It may be the sunny walkway where mulch keeps scattering. It may be the dry corner beside the driveway. It may be the shaded bed under your shrubs, the little path outside your bedroom window, or the patio container that always looks like it needs one more finishing touch. That small space matters, because when the ground is covered with something living, the whole area begins to feel softer. Creeping thyme can bring fragrance to a sunny path. Sedum angelina can brighten a dry corner. Blue star creeper can finish the gaps between stones. Creeping jenny can spill like a living ribbon from containers and edges. Lamium can brighten shade. Ajuga can add bold color. Sweet woodruff can create a calm woodland feeling, and dwarf mondo grass can bring quiet structure to a modern small garden. These plants do the practical work mulch usually does. They help cover soil, hold moisture, reduce weeds, and protect the garden bed. But they also give something more: color, texture, scent, flowers, movement, and personality. And that is what makes a home feel truly cared for. So before you buy another bag of mulch, look around your space and ask yourself, which corner could become softer, greener, and more alive? Tell me in the comments which ground cover you would try first and where you would use it in your home or garden. And if you enjoy simple, natural, beautiful ideas for small spaces, make sure to follow Dream Room for more inspiration.